live. Okay.
Hello!
Hi.
Guess who?
It's us again.
Okay. So I know you guys were expecting Steve Kim, but Steve Kim looks like this today.
Yes, he had another kind of project he had to do, so unfortunately he couldn't make it.
Aww.
But
Yeah.
this is our Steve Kim for today.
Hopefully you guys don't mind me
Yeah.
coming in here in place of Steve Kim.
And we met with him and he shared all what we were going to talk about today. So we're going to do our best to, re-say everything he shared with us.
Yeah, if you have a terrible objection to me taking place of Steve Kim, let me know in the chat.
And can everyone hear us okay? And please type where you're tuning in from.
Hi, CJ. CJ from New York.
Where in New York? Because we're in New York.
Yeah, we're in New York.
We're in upstate New York.
And it's freezing up here.
It was hailing yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And snowing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
In April, almost May.
I know, and we're from like the other side of the country, so for us,
snowing
in April is like, what?
Right. And if you tuned in any of the other days, the other Earth Week live series videos, let us know. This is our last one.
No!
We had an interesting week. And while people are coming in, I will mention also our super chat function for our channel. So for this live, if you donate more than $25, there's a super chat button that's like a small S by where you can chat. We'll meet with you one-on-one. Linda and I will meet with you one-on-one. And if you donate even anything, it just helps us to create our content and provide more mental health and mental wellness content for people. So just wanted to mention that if anyone's interested, there's a button there that you could do that. Okay, and let's get started on today's topic. So let me share a slide I created. All right, so this is our Brain Education Earth Week live series, if you didn't know already. So today's topic is sustainability in business and the creation of green hospitality. So we're going to focus mostly on Honors Haven Resort and their sustainability efforts. And so let's get right into it. So again, we're collaborating this week with Honors Haven Retreat in Ellenville, New York. And their motto is striving to create a harmonious, sustainable world for all. And this is a beautiful picture of the property. It is not that green right now. This is taken in the summer, but in April, we're here during spring, so we can see a lot of the new greenery.
Cherry blossoms.
Right, cherry blossoms are so beautiful, but the greenery is coming up. So yes, this is their motto. And then I just wanted to start off today's live with a statement from Honors Haven on their vision for what they want to do with this retreat. So they say, we strive to be an inspiring environmental organization by recycling, composting, purchasing green products, using energy efficient lighting and appliances, water conservation, and utilizing green cleaning and hospitality products when consistent with guest comfort and preferences. And then they also work with Earth Citizens Organization, which we also work with as well. Brain Education TV works with them as well, and they extend their impact for greener hospitality to promote sustainable community culture through their programs and guest experiences. So that's just a little overview of what I feel Steve would say
Right.
if he was here, about really what Honors Haven's purpose is and what they're trying to do.
So I want to say one thing about the hospitality products because this really impressed me when I checked into their hotel because we're staying at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like those little like shampoo bottles and like the soap things that the hotels give you to use during your stay. The packaging, like I wish I brought it, but the packaging for the little like shampoo, conditioner, and body wash, it says biodegradable.
Right.
It says like earth friendly. And then the material, like the washing product itself, was like earth friendly. And I was like, I've never seen that at a hotel before.
Right.
They try to bring like luxury brands and look good and that kind of stuff, but I've never seen a hotel actually use like biodegradable packaging stuff, sustainable packaging with like sustainable cleaners inside for you. So that really impressed me.
Right, and I think before we jump more into this presentation, I remember what Steve said is that hospitality is one of the hardest businesses to be sustainable in. Yeah. So, and definitely, I mean, hospitality and resorts and hotels, they're all for the comfort of the guests and for the experience. And so, I mean, if you go to a beautiful, hotel somewhere, all the trees and the landscaping is very beautiful, but most of the time they use very, lots of chemicals and lots of things that are very harmful to the earth to make it look so pretty.
Right.
But what Honors Haven is trying to do is make it look beautiful, but all organically and naturally. So,
right.
Yeah, that was something that Steve mentioned to us.
Yeah, and it's true because like you said, Gabby, like people go to resorts and hotels to like let go.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, when you check into a hotel, you're not going in there saying, okay, how much water can I save?
Right.
It's more like, how many baths can I take like every single day, right? So they're like wasting excess, so much like usage, but it's so cool to see some place like Honors Haven place the earth as a priority over profit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not to say that they've like limited their comfort or anything like that. Like everything is still here. There's still a bathtub. There's still so many things that you see at a hotel. It's just the business is run on saving the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And keeping that in mind, as well as the guest's comfort. So I think that's really cool.
Right. So I wanted to just read a few of the comments that have been coming in. So, hi CJ from the Bronx. You should definitely come up to Honors Haven. It's only like 2 hours north. So you should definitely come. There's lots of retreats here all the time. There's currently a detox, like liver cleanse retreat going on, which I wish I was a part of. I feel like we all need a good liver cleanse from time to time.
Yes.
Joanne, hi from Honors Haven. Hello.
Joanne, where in Honors Haven
where are you? And then
come downstairs.
Yeah,
we're downstairs.
We're in the conference rooms over here. And then Naveen says, where the button? So the button is that the super chat button. There's a smiley face button, and then there's a money sign button next to the smiley face. So that's the button I'm talking about for super chat. And then Naveen says, how can 8 billion of us be involved? I wish everybody had this mindset around the world to be more sustainable and help the nature and the world, but this is a good first step to this. And like we said, mostly in hotels and retreats and those places, people don't think about when they go to a hotel, like, oh, how can I conserve? How can I be more with the nature? They think of how to just use everything up. But that's just a mindset that people have to change. But I think we're moving in that direction more. Naveen says, how many bags can I take? As many as you want.
As many as
you want, yes.
Yeah, that is up to your total freedom.
Yes. And CJ says, I plan. So you're planning to come up here, so that's great.
Yeah, if you come up by Sunday, maybe you can see us in person.
Yes.
We're here till Sunday.
Here till Sunday. I don't think it's sharing. How do I? Okay, let me get back to the presentation. All right, so now I wanted to dive into the 10 sustainability goals that Honors Haven has by 2022, mainly by spring of 2022. So that's in about 1 year. They want to achieve all these 10 things. And currently, Honors Haven has the prestigious Green Concierge certification at Tier 1 Bronze, and they're striving by these 10 goals to reach Tier 2, which is Silver. And the image of the hospitality green, this is where their certification comes from. So they're already recognized as a place that has, already a lot of sustainability efforts, but they're trying to become even more sustainable and eco-friendly here. So the first goal is organic land management. So they want to use 100% organic land management practices for landscaping, turf grass, and field crops. And that is all in regards to the fertilizers, the pests, and the weeds. So did you want to talk about that a little more?
So you might be wondering, what is organic land management? So organic land management is not using like chemicals and pesticides to control the land. So as Gabby mentioned, Honors Haven has a plan to use the land for making like different like crops and different like sustainable farming practices. And with that, naturally in grass, there's weeds that come up.
Right.
And of course, the easiest way to kill the weeds would be to spray pesticides and be done with it. However, those pesticides have a lasting impact in the soil, lasting impact on the earth. So what Honors Haven is trying to do is they try to find some ways to naturally control the pest without using chemicals. So they have to do a lot of research because there's not that much information out there. But they did find something that they are implementing right now. So did you know that when they come up, if you put cardboard on top of them, if you put cardboard on top of like the land, the weeds cannot penetrate through the cardboard, so it stops their growth.
Mm-hmm.
And then so by stopping their growth through just laying down cardboard in a certain way, it prevents the weeds from growing. So in that way, you can control the weeds, and then you can also not damage the soil to protect the plants and protect the life that's there. So I thought that was pretty cool because I've never heard of placing cardboard on the land to get rid of weeds.
Right, and when Steve was sharing this with us, he says this would take like about 2 years for the weeds to learn that they can't go past the cardboard, and then the cardboard also naturally decomposes into the soil, so it's all like an organic system that works that way. But it's not something that happens like in a few weeks. It's a long time for the weeds to learn. But once you get that system going, it can be like a whole, ecosystem for all the plants and everything that's growing there. So they're starting to implement this all over the area. So that's one of their sustainability goals. And then another one is irrigation water. So they want 100% of all water used on site for irrigation and landscaping to be sourced from rainwater collection and existing on-site wells. So that is another goal. And then drinking water. They want 100% of fresh, clean, purified drinking water throughout the facilities by expanding existing purified drinking water locations, increasing use of reusable drinking water containers, and reducing the need for disposable or bottled water.
Yeah, so I want to make a comment on that. In Honors Haven property, there's a bunch of like hydration station where if you have like a water bottle like this, it's very easy to fill up. And I think that's so great because it really breaks my heart to see how many plastic bottles normal hotels use and people in the hotel rooms use. So the fact that there's like hydration stations like throughout the place that if you have a water bottle, you can just fill up, and I think that's really great.
Right, and the hydration stations have hot and cold water,
Right.
which is nice. You can make tea or coffee or just get a bottle of water. But yeah, they're almost down every hallway, like in this huge property. So that is really nice. And then another goal is zero waste. So 90% or more of landfill waste diversion, they want to have that diversion through extensive recycling programs, kitchen food scrap and paper towel composting, and diligent separation of any hazardous materials, electronic waste, and ongoing construction waste. And with the continued collection and recycling of kitchen grease, with exploration of on-site biodiesel utilization and production for use in other diesel equipment. So yeah, the main thing here that Steve talked about was the composting and the separation of materials from like the hazardous materials and to the kitchen food scraps. So it was we'll show you later the composting machine he was talking about, but basically they installed this amazing composting machine that takes all the food scraps and then makes it small, and then they use that same compost and they put it on the land to have natural fertilizer. But there's lots of, it's not easy, so they have to really separate well. They can't have really animal food in there, so no bones and things like that, because other animals can come. So they have a big like separation process of all those materials, things like that. Another goal is renewable energy. So they want 50% on-site renewable energy generation with solar panels placed on the roofs and shade structures for the cars. And then carbon emission reduction. So they want 50% or more overall reduction in carbon emissions by transitioning to a biofuel boiler with expanded energy efficient upgrades and recycling, composting, renewable energy, and more. And then they'd like to install an organic herbal tea garden, and that's 50% on-site production, processing, and serving of high-quality organic medicinal and herbal teas like mint, chamomile, and nettle.
So they have, like that.
Right, they have many gardens that they've started around here, so that's really nice. And then local and organic food, so 25% on-site production in greenhouses and field crops to produce high-quality organic foods for utilization in the main kitchen menu and the snack shop. And then habitat restoration, 25 acres of restored native habitat in areas adjacent to the creeks and the streams to reduce flooding and improve local water quality by also enhancing the native flora and fauna species diversity and habitat. So we can see that more by the hiking trails and by the waterfall here on this property. And then lastly, social and cultural goals. They want to build a healthy, thriving, responsible Earth citizenship organization and company culture through increased employee sustainability, participation, and trainings and ongoing support of personal and planetary well-being. So wow, I think those are some amazing goals that they're trying to achieve by 2022.
Yeah, and the fact that it's a hotel trying to do this, not some like other place.
Right. So here is an image of the entire property. So it's huge, as you can see, but you can see there's many gardens, like herb gardens that are gonna get put in, vegetable gardens, Kiva gardens. They have fishing and boating areas. They have lots of green land and hiking trails. So yeah, this is just an overview of what the area looks like.
So just as a FYI, some of the things are already there and some of the things are not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
So like, for example, the picnic, so this whole like middle area right now is a golf course. So it came like as a golf course. So the things that are kind of only intact right now are the Kiva Garden and the Challenge Ropes course, and then this hiking trail over here. So this apple orchard area, open field games, picnic, herb garden, zen garden, camping, pumpkins, these are all what's going to be installed in the future. So it's a blueprint for what Honors Haven is envisioning to create and transform their property to be in line as the eco-sustainable facility where people can come and learn how to be with the earth and cultivate and grow the earth. So just making that clarification.
Yes. So when we walked around with Steve, he showed us the entire property. So we wanted to share some photos and things from there. So here is the Eco Healing Parks.
It's Gabby.
And there's me. And just for like sizing of how big this is, see the hope for the future. It says this is where they're planning, this is the golf course area that they're planning to turn into all those things we saw in the previous screen. So you can see the lake here, and then in the mountains over here are where the hiking trails and things like that are, but this is the healing park area. And then this is the composting machine. So here's Steve. So
he's here with us in spirit. Currently he's in Sedona, Arizona. He's a very busy man.
Yes.
High demand man.
Right. So here, this is where the kitchen is. So they take, you know, all the food waste up here and then they put it in down here, and then the machine works and makes it compact, and then you can take it out of here. So this is a very big, you know, high efficiency machine that is going to be very helpful for their sustainability efforts.
Yeah, I want to add a little bit more about this machine because when I first heard about this machine, I was so impressed. So typically, when hotels or anywhere, when they throw away food waste, it gets mixed in with regular trash, right? We don't really compost usually. So when you mix in food waste with other trash, what happens to food is that it gets thrown in landfill. And when food gets thrown in landfill, it takes a lot more time to decompose because in a landfill, when food gets thrown there, it goes through a anaerobic decomposing process, which means decomposing without oxygen because it's kind of just like stuffed with different things. There's not oxygen flowing and things moving in there to make it decompose. So Steve said, when you get a head of lettuce and you put it in a landfill and you make it go through an anaerobic decomposing process, which is decomposing without oxygen, do you know how long it takes for that head of lettuce to decompose? 200 years.
Wow.
However, when you put food through an aerobic decomposing process, which is decomposing with oxygen, so decomposing naturally, basically, like when you leave an apple out, just out in the air, without stuffing it under anything, just out in the air, it goes through an aerobic decomposing process, which is why it turns brown and dries up and gets, decomposes naturally. So the same head of lettuce, when you put it through a natural aerobic decomposing process, do you know how long it takes for it to decompose? 30 days, which sounds normal.
Right.
It takes a month for that thing to decompose. So what this machine does is it's called a high efficiency compost system. When you put food through here, it regulates the temperature, moisture level, and it constantly spins the food. So it constantly is exposing it to oxygen. So putting it through an aerobic decomposing process, so it's oxygenated, the temperature is controlled, because if it's freezing cold, which it is over here, then it slows down the process. Because when you put things in the freezer, it slows down the process. So it controls the temperature, but it also controls the moisture level that's optimal for these foods to decompose quickly. So it just keeps churning, spinning the food along. And Steve actually mentioned that this machine can take bones and meat and food, everything, all food scraps. So they turn it like this once a week, and then it shoots out that black door on the side, and then they scoop it up, and then they use it as fertilizer for their plants and stuff like that. So I thought it was really cool because I don't know any other hotel that does separation of compost and regular trash and then spits it out to use it as fertilizer. So that's what this high efficiency machine is, and this is what Honors Haven is using to create organic matter to help nourish and feed their crops and land.
Right, and it's a big process to separate, the food scraps and the waste. So every night, every day after there's a big, lots of people eat, the employees have to separate themselves. And, not many, like you said, not many hotels or restaurants or, companies do that so regularly. And because it is, time consuming, but they're very focused on having this sustainable way of nourishing the nature. So it's very important to really separate all the food scraps and the waste.
Yeah, and Steve was telling us that he separates the food scraps, so he had to put on these big gloves and then separates, because most people, they don't have the mind to just naturally throw away compost and separate it from the trash. They just, especially if you're in a hotel on vacation, they just throw everything in the trash bin. So he puts on these big gloves. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to take the responsibility. And with his love and care for saving the earth, separates the food, separates the trash of all the hotel guests.
And it was interesting, he shared too, like the different groups that come in. Like some groups had a lot of food waste and some didn't. So it was just, he just shared, it was interesting to see the different types of people, like how they look at, composting or recycling or, with their waste, how they are. That was just something he mentioned, the different, it just shows how we as people, we have different ways of thinking of that. So he saw some are moving more towards being more green and some cultures and some people aren't. So it was just interesting that he pointed that out.
Yeah, and if you guys are interested in the machine, he did say, I asked him, what is this thing called? I thought it would be called like Recycle Max 3000 or something
It
like
looks
that.
like that.
Right, Recycle Max 3000, but he said it's called a high efficiency compost system. So that's what it's called, high efficiency compost system.
And we had some comments. I see VA Tracker says, I've never seen a machine like that. That's very interesting. Yeah, we hadn't either, so it was very interesting to learn about. Naveen says, wow, factor leaders. And then Natasha says, wow, very cool. Yes, very, very interesting.
Natasha, by the way, I'm still waiting for your email reply.
Right.
Please email me back. And you also donated more than $25, so I want to schedule a 15-minute with you.
Yes.
So please email me back. Okay, I've been waiting for 2 days now. Just a side note.
Email us back, yes. And then VA Tracker says, it sounds like Steve is a multitasker. He definitely is. He's the property manager of this whole place and the one who's really taking on the initiative of making it green and fulfilling all those goals. He's the head of all of that. So he does that, plus gets his hands dirty and puts on those big sleeves and does the separation of the compost. So yes, definitely.
Yeah, Natasha, I see her chat. Literally yesterday, I was like, if Natasha comes tomorrow, I'm gonna tell her to respond to my email. Okay, so I want to explain about this Kiva garden. So this is another really cool feature that Honors Haven has. And this structure was created to build a sense of community and communication. A Kiva garden is a traditional South American concept. So you see on the left-hand side here, this is what the Kiva structure looks like. It's a circle, rounded shape. And in South American, Native American cultures, they built Kiva gardens for elders to sit in a circle and discuss community needs. And so how they would do it is they would sit in a circle and then they would pass around a stick, and it was called the talking stick. And only the person with a talking stick can talk, and everyone else had to listen. So when they had the talking stick, they make it very concise, very short, but it was a practice of respecting and listening to the person who was speaking and speaking at that time because, if in our modern society we just talk over each other and cut each other off, and
Right.
that's not very fruitful. So they built a Kiva garden here because there are a lot of groups and retreats that come here. And they want to help people learn how to trust and communicate and build a community with each other. So the interesting about this Kiva garden is that you can see that it's made up of just rocks, and then from here you can see like flat sheets of concrete, or it looks like rocks or concrete. So this Kiva garden was built by hand,
Right.
using ancient techniques similar to the ones used in the pyramids. And the reason why I say that is because no machinery, like no cranes, no nothing, no machinery was used to make this. They got like metal rods and then like lifted the stones and then put like 2 stones under it to use it as wheels to wheel it over. So no modern machine, not even like wheelbarrow, like nothing. They use stones under the sheets of rock to use as wheels, and they built all of this by hand. So this flat concrete sheets up here is actually recycled building waste. So there was kind of a building demolition right here in this area. So there was just a bunch of building debris sitting there. Concrete, like slabs of concrete and just rocks just sitting here. So they used the building debris, recycled the building debris, which would have ended up as trash anyway and looked not good, looked like garbage on the side of the road, into a beautiful structure by hand where people can gather and talk. And you see right here, they can make a little fire pit too. So they make a little fire and then people sit around the fire and have meaningful discussions of life, of how to connect with nature, how to save humanity, what have you, meaningful conversations. But I think there's huge significance in one, that they built this with recycled waste, building waste. 2, they built it by hand using no machinery, ancient techniques. And because they built it by hand, Steve was sharing that they had to really find the right pieces for the spaces, because there were no machines to just easily lift and put back, lift and put back. If you lifted a thing, you have to use it because or else you have to carry it back by hand.
Right.
So he said it really took all the builders, their brain power, kind of like fitting Legos into a space. They had to visualize the space, find the piece of slab that was perfect for that space, carry it over by hand, place it there. So it was an act of mindfulness, just building this structure. Because if you do it mindlessly, you're going to waste a lot of energy bringing stones back and forth. So it was built all from mindfulness, like a meditation. So this place is a very sacred place, built by hand out of recycled things, meant for people to sit here, communicate, build community, trust, that kind of stuff.
Yes, VA Tracker says, how long did it take to create the garden?
That's a good question. I wish we asked Steve.
I think, well, it obviously, some time, but he worked with groups of people for meditation and mindfulness and retreats to kind of get your hands dirty a little bit, like really feel what it means to build something with your own hands. That was like the point of building this. So with the help of many people, I'm not sure, we didn't ask him, so we'll ask him.
Probably months, honestly.
Right. But yeah, they created this beautiful place just with their own 2 hands, which is very special. And we don't get to experience things like that nowadays. So yes, this is the Kiva garden, and they're planning on building others. Yes, throughout, but with in different ways, not with these demolition waste, but with like different materials, things like that. So this was one of them in the property. And we actually experienced we met at night with a retreat that was here, the Peaceful Warriors Retreat, and
which we talked about yesterday.
Yes, and so like the youth camp, and Steve started a fire, and we actually experienced the whole like passing the stick and talking, and it was very special to just have your own time and space to speak and say what's on your mind. And everyone was very concise, and it wasn't like rambling, and it was very respectful.
Can you share the 3 questions just so that the audience can get an understanding of what kind of deep questions
Yes.
we talked about here?
So it was more like a self-reflection kind of experience that Steve created for us. So the first question was, what is your biggest desire? Your biggest desire for your life? So, everyone had some time to meditate, and it was very interesting. It was completely silent. And his question, while after we meditated, was, what did you hear? Like, what were the sounds you heard? And, people said, there were like insects, or there were cars in the very far distance, from the property, or some people shared like they could just hear the air, or just like the silence, like the sound between the sounds. So it's very interesting. And then, so yeah, your biggest desire. So everyone went and shared that. That was very beautiful. And then your biggest fear. So your biggest fear for reaching that desire, what that is. And that's a very vulnerable question to share with people you probably don't know very well, because this was a youth camp. These people had just met and we didn't know them, but it was such a like comfortable, respectful place where everyone felt comfortable to share. And then the third one was, what is the gift I want to leave on this earth? So in this lifetime, what is the gift you want to leave from your life? So that was very touching as well, to hear all the different gifts and kind of mindset that people wanted to leave. A lot of in the group, they had the same kind of mindset of like helping the world in some way, or helping people in some way. So it's very beautiful.
Yeah. So I actually am curious what you guys would answer. So could you guys all just imagine you're sitting at the Kiva garden, and what is your biggest desire? What is your biggest fear? And what is the gift that you want to leave behind in the world? So this is the level of kind of deep conversational topics that are discussed in the Kiva garden. So we're going to keep going along with our presentation, but just type in the chat, pretend you're at the Kiva garden, and I want to hear your biggest desires, your fears, and the gift you want to leave behind.
Yes. So next, Steve really focused on the ultimate goal of these sustainability projects. So it's not just to be, the most well-known hotel that does
the greenest hotel,
the greenest hotel that has, the most eco-friendly things. That is not his main goal for the projects. He wants to make Honors Haven more than just a retreat and more than just a hotel, but a place where people can learn sustainable human skills. He mentioned that, nowadays people don't even know how to cook their own food, how to how a plant grows, like how to put a seed in the soil,
or how to deal with weeds.
Right. How to, do any of those things, because our world is just so different. So he wants this to be a place where you can come and learn how to live from just your own 2 hands, and like grow your own food and make your own food and all those kind of things. So that is his ultimate goal.
And then just to make it clear, Steve doesn't own this property. Okay, he just manages the property and he conceptualizes like the ideas for it. But Ilchili owns this property, and Ilchili overall directs and manages the place. So these are actually teachings and goals of Ilchili that are being manifested, that are being done through Steve. So I just want to make that clear for people who don't know about Honors Haven and don't know about Steve, that this is not Steve's place. It is Ilchili's place, who created Brain Education. Just Steve is the kind of, the manager who conceptualizes these plans that are overseen by Ilchili. So this idea of building sustainability, human skills, connecting with nature, connecting with each other, trust, that kind of stuff is all based on teachings of Ilchili.
Yes, Steve is like just the project manager of
Yeah.
this area who's executing it,
Yes,
and
right.
took the teachings from El Chile.
Right.
But yes.
So just clearing that for any confusion.
Mm-hmm. So the main thing that from the goal of Honors Haven, the big goal, not just to be a green hotel, was to teach people sustainability basics. So Steve, when we talked to him, he touched on 4 basics that he and from El Chile believe that every human should know. This is not things we learn in school. This is not things that we're taught nowadays. So, number 1, build. So, manage your living environment in a sustainable way. So, whether it's being able to, well, your everyday environment, just being able to manage it, and then being able to use your hands to maybe make things, or like the Kiva garden, things like that, like being one with your environment. That's build. And then grow. So grow your own food. It's very it's such a big process for learning how to grow a seed. The time it takes for a seed to sprout, and all different plants have different timings and everything like that, and how much sunlight, how much water, all those things, and then growing it and then eating it and making food with it. That's a process that many people don't know about. So grow. Third is heal, taking care of your own health naturally. So through either mind body trainings, or through your own self practice, or through just moving your body, knowing how to take care of yourself naturally, and not relying on doctors and medicine, and too much like outside like chemicals and things like that to take care of you. And then lead, so work with others for a better earth. Yes.
Yes, these are life skills. So they're really aiming to teach basic human life skills that every person should have to be able to thrive and sustain their life without depending on the system.
Mm-hmm. So this is what Honors Haven hopes to have they already have programs for learning sustainability, but the bigger goal than just being green and all the nature elements and all the composting and everything is to have it be a place where people can learn to live this way and live naturally with the earth.
Yes.
Okay, so now I'll look at more of the comments. So Naveen says, I want to leave a vegan world behind. And that is a great goal, to have a more green world and vegan world where we're not like harming nature, animals, plants. And then Natasha says, everyone wants instant gratification. Definitely, that is our culture now. So, even things like building the Kiva garden, that probably took months or however long that took. So to most people, that is not something they even want to touch.
Have patience for.
Yeah, no one has patience anymore. So, but then knowing like you built that with your own 2 hands, or you were a part of it, that's very special. That's very new to many people. That's a new feeling. So lots of patience. And a big thing Steve actually talked about was that it's not easy. This is not like easy living in this like kind of sustainable way. It takes a lot of work, but the end result is just it gives you such gratification that that everything you're doing, all the steps you're taking, you are helping the earth thrive, and you're helping yourself, and making the earth a better place to live in. So it isn't something that's you can just flip a switch and one day like, oh, you know, I'm green now. Like it is a process, especially for a whole huge retreat hotel.
Right.
Like it's not just, they can't just do this in a few days.
Right. It's an ongoing lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
But we highlighted Honors Haven's initiative because I think it's very inspiring and something that could be a model for other hospitality businesses to, yes, profit is important, I get it, in a capitalist society. However, we are living in the result of a world that has driven profit way too much over the good of the earth, which is ultimately the good of our lives. So taking some time to reflect on that and saying, yes, profit is important, but is there something more important? What is our true priority? And to see some place like Honors Haven, who totally could have placed profit way above the good of the earth. They could have used pesticides. They don't have to separate the trash. Why? Why not? It's
Easier.
yeah, right. It's more comfortable to just
Right.
ignore all those things. But people like Steve roll up their gloves and dig through with the mission and the idea that my action is doing this to save the earth and my little contribution can do something to create a change, to see a whole establishment taking on that initiative. I hope that it could become a model for other places to think more green, to think with more responsibility, to think with more care, and to think with more long-term benefits in mind rather than just short-term comfort, short-term profit. Because at this rate, the world is not going in a very hopeful direction.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if you guys are in the hospitality industry, if you guys are connected to people in the hospitality industry, maybe share some of the things that Honors Haven is doing so that they can implement it in small steps in their establishments too.
And it'd be great if you'd like to come visit too, to see in person, if you're really interested in these kind of efforts, to see what they're doing.
Right. CJ from the Bronx, we're looking at you.
Right.
You're very close.
Yeah. So VA Tracker shared, my biggest desire is knowledge, open-minded knowledge. I worry that the modern world is ignorant to knowledge. Definitely. Yes, and I would say maybe your term ancient knowledge could be more like wisdom, the wisdom of how people used to live and from like ancient times. So yes, the world is definitely ignorant to wisdom.
Yeah, we Ilchili says that is the result of us losing touch with what's real inside of us. That we lost touch with the ancient wisdom inside of us. That is why people outside have been losing ancient wisdom with the outside world too. Because they're disconnected with what's real. They're only living for social media, living for money, living for comfort, living for success, which is not really truly who we are inside.
Right. Natasha says, how enriching to be a part of, very special. Yes.
Come visit.
Come visit, and thank you.
Come to the Sedona one.
Yes, we're looking at you. We'll look out for you there. She also shared, my biggest desire is continued happiness. My biggest fear is my son's safety, and I would like to leave behind any positive inspiration and amount of art to any person, especially kids. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I hope that more people can have that their biggest desire and what they want to leave the earth is for the betterment of all, not just for their own little personal things, but more on a humanity basis. Naveen says, my biggest fear is mañana's duty. So you mean like tomorrow's? Mañana's tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
It's tomorrow's duty.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? Yes, wisdom and knowledge. And Natasha says, I'm working on trying to get there. Definitely everyone is a work in progress.
We're all a work in progress.
Yes.
Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hopeful that you're even working in
Right.
progress.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't even put themselves in work in progress. They just stay stagnant and they just choose to live a comfortable life. But it's inspiring and hopeful to even see that you're trying and you are a work in progress.
Yes.
So are we. So am I. Every day I'm working hard to progress myself.
Me too. Definitely.
So does anyone have any questions about the property, things that we can answer for you? We can channel Steve, channel Ilchili, and then answer the questions for you. Maybe some things that were not clear, some things you want more details on, anything? Gabby's presentation was so good and clear, there's no questions.
So Naveen says, is false evidence is assumed real fear? What do you mean by that?
Any other questions about green hospitality, Honors Haven?
Or about our live series. So if you tuned in during...
Oh yeah, today's the last day.
Right, today's the last day. So if you tuned in Tuesday, Linda did a 1-hour brain education class. Wednesday, I did a meditation and talked about the nature elements here. Yesterday was youth empowerment with Linda and one of the trainers for the youth empowerment camps and groups. Who's
Bama
Kim. She's well known in our community and really fun. And then today.
And today, Gabby with sustainability.
Yes.
Green hospitality.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the 1 week. We try to do something new for Earth Week and special, something new and special this year.
Right. And we had so much fun being here and doing all that.
Yeah. And we're really grateful to people who join every single day. And especially those people who join multiple days, maybe all the days or 2 out of the 4 or anything, 3 out of the 4. We're grateful to all of you who joined us and participated and celebrated 2021's Earth Week with Brain Education TV.
Yes, and all our lives will be up as archives on our channel, so if you missed or want to rewatch any of them, they'll always be there.
Yeah.
Natasha said, it's been fun. I woke up late all week, so you guys were a great start to my day.
What a life. What a life.
Right.
Great. Yeah, any other questions, comments?
Okay. You answered his question, Natasha, so that's great. VA Tracker says, thanks guys, looking forward to future lives. Thank you for coming. And where are you tuning in from, VA Tracker? Thank you, Naveen.
Yeah, Naveen, I finally understood your question after Natasha said that. But yes, I did hear that acronym, FEAR, is false evidence appearing real. So I just understood your question.
Right.
Thanks, Natasha, for the clarification.
Yes. Natasha said I'll be in touch. Yes.
Yeah, VA Tracker, where are you?
Virginia.
Virginia. Natasha, where are you? Naveen, where are you?
Yeah, if you're in Virginia, we have some, if you'd like to participate in a retreat with us or any of those things, we'll link some.
Yeah, Virginia's not that far.
Right.
I think it's Mountains, something like that.
Yeah, so here is the website for Honors Haven, and they link their retreats there. And then also we have a retreat in Sedona coming up in a few weeks.
May 14 to 16.
If you're interested in that.
Natasha, you should come. Come, we're gonna be there, Sedona, May 14 to 16.
Yes, so here, let me link it. May 14 to 16, Sedona, like Heroes Camp. And
yeah, Heroes is the Western version of the Peaceful Warriors Camp that we talked about yesterday.
do we have a better method to be more involved?
So Naveen, Valencia, like Valencia, California.
There's many Valencias, so.
The Valencia I know is Valencia, California, near LA.
There's one in Florida too.
Oh.
Or even Spain. So you could.
So which Valencia? And then we can tell you how you can get involved.
Yes. So which Valencia? And then Natasha says, I want to come. I'm working on it. Yes, please.
Yeah, respond to my email, okay? And then we'll connect with a 15-minute session.
Okay, we'll reach out. Spain. Ooh, so we have a retreat center in Tenerife.
Yeah, in the Canary Islands. Tenerife.
Yes, so if you're, let me find it.
I don't know if they have a website yet. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we're going to send you a link of the retreat center we have in Spain. In Tenerife.
It's called Tenerife Healing Garden, and that's where we do brain education, just like here at Honors Haven. We do same thing over there. So Tenerife, Spain, Healing Garden Retreat. Okay, I shared it.
Yeah, check out that link for more info. I think, Naveen, that will be the closest to you. And I think they do online classes too. So if you go on the website, there's a way to contact them. So contact them to see if there's if they do online classes where you can experience brain education regularly.
Yes.
And then I'll connect with some of the masters that are there. And we have your information here now, so I'll email them linking you so you guys can get connected together. Do we have that saved somewhere?
Yeah, it'll be.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? WhatsApp group? Okay, I'll ask them if they have a WhatsApp, and then I'll link you because I have your information, I have your phone number and email, so we'll connect you to the people in Spain.
Yes.
Don't you worry.
And again, I wanted to mention our super chat function. So if you feel the need to support our channel and what we do and us promoting mental health, any bit helps for donations. There's a super chat, there's an S button next to where you type, and you can just input an amount there, and It will fund our work and our videos. And if you donate more than $25, we'll meet with you one-on-one and have a private session
Yeah, it will
for
make
15 minutes.
It will make us very happy.
Yes.
It'll make our day.
Yes.
Like people appreciate our work.
I know.
Okay, well, I think we can end our live series here.
Mhm.
Thank you all so much for coming today and for joining us this whole week, coming to you live from Honors Haven Resort. I hope one day we can see each other in person, maybe at one of the retreat facilities, maybe online, maybe in a future live. But I hope you guys come back and enjoy our content and connect with our practice, connect with brain education, connect with Il Chili, connect with our properties, connect with us on a deeper level so you can use brain education to become healthier, happier, and more peaceful, just like brain education did for us.
Yes.
Thank you all so much.
So thank you so much. We'll see you in another live. Please subscribe to our newsletter and subscribe to our channel and our social media channels if you want to get updates. But yes, bye. Thank you so much.